Hello out there, my name is Laolu Akonde and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, today it is your take. This is where we get feedback to previous editions of Inside Sources. Let us start with the episode that featured Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, the chairman of the Presidential Tax Reform Policy Committee. This comes from Peace Okogie. It says, Taiwo Oyedele made me come here. And as usual, it blew my mind. Nigeria will definitely get better. I say amen to that because I believe it. Next, still on the same edition, is from Aziz Wahab. He says, I will listen to Taiwo Oyedele anytime he speaks on tax. Me too. And then we move to Shehu Johnson, who says that the tax reform is a game changer. We hope it brings about the positive change that our country needs. Mr. Johnson, you are so right. Then we move on to Nelly Joe. Thank you, Mr. Oyedele. I have been saying this. Let us criminalize cash transaction of US dollar above $1,000. At least US dollar is not our currency. What are we doing with it? Do this and you will see corruption, kidnapping, tax evasion reduced drastically. In fact, our capital market will boom like never before. Very interesting analysis. We move on, still on the same edition, to Mr. Bankole Bolahan, who says the PBAD, that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all the way, from student loan to tax reform to food deregulation of the downstream and 6 regional commissions. Proudly, Niger. Well, those are facts. Now we go to the reactions to my take, titled VP Shetima and Boss Mustafa, their remarks that I titled, Not Yet the Opening of a Can of Worms. Here we go. Starting from Adeoye Adelekon. Shetima's remarks at Garba Shew's book launch were surprising but constitutionally valid, whereas Boss Mustafa's comments were more predictable. Now we move to the episode that featured Babacha Lawal, the former secretary to the government of Federation in the first time of President Buhari. And this is from ID Sambo. Always refreshing listening to BD Lawal. Laolu is a very good journalist. I love his program and interviews. Thank you very much. Still on that edition, we have from Brinks Sly Iyadom. Laolu, I greet you, sir. Your dressing reminds me of Larry King of CNN, though late now, a consummate interviewer of global reckoning and repeat. I love Larry King also. Thank you so much. And then we go to Bella Talks. We continue to declare that Nigeria will prevail and one day we will get our break into mainstream development. Amen. I say amen to that. And also we have from Livestream Ventures. This is such a beautiful interview. Laolu, this is excellent. Thank you. And then we move to Spider. Spider says, Peter Obi, Rono, these people will bring you out and rubbish you. The coalition is for Atiku. And if he decides to shift it to the south, I am telling you that the north will prefer Amechi because he has evidence of what he did for the north without doing anything for his south-south zone and the entire southeast. Only this alone will move the north to prefer Amechi. Peter, Rono, very interesting analysis. I don't think I agree with that, but hey, it's your view. And then we move to the episode that featured Mr. Muiwa Ige. We have one comment on that one from Motaiwo TV. Motaiwo TV says, very true, the absence of a shock absorber has affected the climb, referring to the 2 years of President Tinubu. The work over the 2 years is to get back to the stage where we were. Hopefully, it won't be all the work this government will do throughout their stay. He also added that men who did politics, like Bola Ige, are men who did politics so that there could be good governance and not a reign of supermen. Thank you so much. We move to the episode that featured Majid Dairu and Malam Baba Yusuf. It was a panel discussion. Let's start with what Daily Shorts has to say. It says, Mr. Majid spoke like an average Nigerian on the street feeling the heat of this government. That's why we have the panel. And then Mr. Akiyemi said, Baba Ahmed Yusuf is always a delight to watch and listen to anytime. He speaks with historical intelligence and empirical fact without minding whose ox is God. That's why we always bring people like that. And then we have from Bola Salak, Mr. Mojid and Malam Baba Yusuf are perhaps the few best unbiased and balanced political analysts we have in this country. They are far better than the egoistic, biased, and sentimental on-air personalities we have in some media houses. Thank you all for the feedback. Let us keep it coming, even though we are not able to read entirely everything, but we do appreciate it. And there you have it, Inside Sources. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I'm going to have a conversation with the former presidential spokesperson to President Muhammadu Buhari, and it's going to be in two segments. The first segment is going to look at the life and times of the president after the news of his transition. And the second segment was actually after Madam Garba had launched this book before the president died. And so I'd like to welcome two Inside Sources, Malam Garba Shehu, former presidential spokesperson to the former president.
Thank you, my friend and colleague.
Thank you. Exactly. We were there together for 8 years.
That's correct.
You know, and I thought that we should have a conversation on your recollections and some of the things that you felt were the more compelling things about President Buhari. So if you are asked, what are the things that you think really define him, especially the notion of his personal integrity? What are some of the things that you recollect about him?
Some of those things I did mention in the book that I wrote. A diamond wristwatch from a Nigerian fashion designer, successful on the global stage. And the guy, fascinated about President Muhammadu Buhari, crafted this wristwatch studded with diamonds.
Customized?
Customized, with the picture of the president embossed on it. And he brought it. And the president looked at it and he said, diamond wristwatch. He said, I can't wear this.
Wow.
Please tell this young Nigerian that he's doing well for himself and he's also a good ambassador of the country. We'll continue to encourage him, let him please continue to promote the image, the name of this country in his trade. But the wristwatch, take it back to him. I can't use it.
Wow.
So the integrity of the president was manifested again, yet again. When we went to the United Arab Emirates in 2016.
Oh, that was UAE.
UAE. And in Abu Dhabi, which is
the capital.
The capital. The Emir of Abu Dhabi actually asked.
That would be the president of the country.
The president of UAE asked President Buhari, which aircraft did he want?
Oh, wow. That
he would give him an aircraft. And the late president said, is it for my country? I will accept. He said, no. It's for you personally that you can also use after you leave office.
Just like he offered to Mr. Trump of the US.
Don't get me into trouble with that.
I don't think so.
He said, I don't need an aircraft when I leave office. In any case, I can't maintain it.
Wow.
And that ended the story. He asked which aircraft did he want.
Oh, wow.
And he will give.
And this was in 2016?
2016.
So the Emir of Abu Dhabi offered former President Buhari, now late,
yes,
a personal jet.
Yes. And those of us, the lesser human beings, we thought, because of his wish to be back in Daura after office, so he didn't have to drive to Katsina to wait for Max Air, or then they didn't have Air Peace and, or Arik or whatever. That he could, but he didn't see it that way.
Interesting.
He declined, and that was the end of the story.
Wow.
Yeah. So President Buhari's personal integrity is unimpeachable. And as a spokesperson for that leader, you were comfortable in one thing. You were never going to be greeted by embarrassing stories of your boss being involved in wrongdoing in any way. And the journalists, we're all trained in this sometimes because they like to prick you. They like to pinch you in a way that to remind you that you are one of us. Don't think that because you're in the villa, you are too far from us.
Of course.
So they seek those moments to attack you with the embarrassing questions.
Wow.
But with Buhari, you slept with your two eyes closed, never worried that a scandal will break involving this man. No, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, very, very important insight that you bring. So, since the burial, which a lot of people have actually commended, it was an outstanding event. President Tinubu seems clearly to have done very well. And then he has renamed the University of Maiduguri, after the president. How do you rate, the whole idea of the state burial and the renaming of the University of Maiduguri after President Buhari?
Well, let me say that a record has been set from my own point of view. No past Nigerian leader had ever been buried on this grand scale.
True.
The grace, the dignity, the honor with which he had been, received a dead body and buried. And the Nigerian government did exceedingly well, certainly well beyond every expectation, and you must give it to them, commend them for what they did. But the Nigerian people, all of Nigeria, this is the amazing, part of the story. All of Nigeria stood up for President Muhammadu Buhari. The massive crowds that we had seen at his burial, never seen before. And look at the trips. As we speak, even now, the Dora couldn't just accommodate people. People are still trooping in. All of this, Niger Republic, Nigeria, the chiefs, the governors, irrespective of political party.
Francis.
So, of course, the icing on the cake was, as we mentioned, the honor done to him by the president to rename the glorious University of Maiduguri after him. Of course, as you have seen yourself, it is not as if everybody thinks that is the right thing to do. And their reactions, because there is emotional attachment, to the past by so many people. So we expect, this is when they did the General Gawan, they renamed the University of Abuja General Gawan. They all said, no, student union, ASU. But then people will calm down because the Vice Chancellor will write to the Minister of Finance. Federal government owns the university. Vice Chancellor will not write to say, I'm writing to you from University of Abuja, give me money. The Minister of Finance will say, I don't know you. I don't
know such a university.
The university, the one I know is Yakubu Gowon University. So I think things will calm down. The government is a government-owned institution, and the government will decide how.
Of course. And I think that, in my view, it's an honor that is befitting of the president. Because if you look at what he represented, he was not just a president for 2 terms, former head of state, but he was a Civil War hero, known for his personal integrity. Yes, of course, there are issues that can be raised, but you can't deny what he had represented.
He was a man for all seasons, and he's been a constant factor in the nation's history. The Civil War you mentioned, he was there for all of the period of the Civil War. In the fields, out there fighting, he never, for once...
He didn't get a break.
He didn't get a break. In times of war, it was often found that some people would feign illness in order to get out of tension. And never for once did he...
do that.
No. He led his troops from beginning to the end.
Interesting. Something that I also noticed, while we sat with him was he was very prompt, very punctual with time. So I'm going to ask a question around that, So you knew when it was 10 a.m. on Wednesday, 1 minute to the president walks in.
Exactly.
But we had, instances when he was struggling with his health just before he traveled, that 10:01, 10:02, 10:03, he doesn't come out. And, now we could say that was because of his medical challenges. I remember, Malam, that you will be the one that you have to dash down, to the resident to find out what was happening. Because everybody knew that the man was always on time. Do you want to recall, for our insight and for our audience, how you managed, those situations?
Well, as you said yourself, the promptness with which he is known was unbroken. throughout his 8 years in office. He never was late for his events. And if for any reason he was, then there would be profuse apology. In those very rare moments.
Very rare. I don't even remember any, really. But I'm sure,
So therefore, yes, if President Buhari wasn't at that event or that meeting 5 minutes into time, then you know that something was wrong. And then so, yes, it was in order to dash down to the residence, walking distance, and to find out what was happening.
Yeah.
You find that in most instances, even against the pain that he endured. For instance, 2-3 days after he returned from that first medical outing.
Yeah, in 2016.
Yes.
I think.
He went to Kaduna at the invitation of Governor Nasir El-Rufai to commission a farm near Kaduna against the advice of doctor.
Oh, wow.
Because the doctor said the president must not travel. And he said, I give my commitment to Nasir, I will go.
Oh, wow.
And he went to Kaduna and did the event and came back. And immediately after that came 15th of January, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. And the president needed to stand there to receive salute and lay wreath at the cenotaph. And everyone was concerned. We were holding our hearts in our hands.
Wow.
Really worried that would the president endure. And doctor, everyone was saying the ceremonies must be cut, minimized so that he would
go in and go out quickly.
But lo and behold, the president, showed all that aside. He went there, he stood throughout the ceremony. The gunshots and the artillery fire, and the service chiefs and the leaders of the National Assembly and Vice President, everyone, one after the other. They didn't crowd them to go and lay the wreath.
Yeah.
One after the other, they went and then they did. Yes, and the release of the pigeons and the signature. And he did everything and then walked home.
Wow.
And when he gave the national honors, again, it was in that sequence.
Yeah,
he stood for 3 hours. 3 hours. Nobody brought a chair to him.
Yeah, I remember
so that. It was also an uncommon stamina that he had, which...
Certainly, and I think it must be partly due to his military training.
I guess that must be it. That must be it.
I also wanted to ask you, just so, you respond to some of the more critical states. So when you are very close to him, how do you think he processed, those who said that, oh, well, look, you always go abroad for your medical test. Of course, Femi Adesina and yourself had explained that, look, this man had doctors who have been his doctors all the while, and they are based in London. Well, how do you think he managed the criticism, because you are very close to him? How do you think he processed that counter-argument that, oh, well, look, why not go to a Nigerian hospital? We have doctors and all of that. How do you think he processed that, if you could tell us?
Well, let me first of all say that I think it is wrong to assume that he fenced himself off, from the Nigerian medical system. He had a Nigerian doctor.
Yeah, the chief personal physician.
The chief personal physician, and the State House Clinic, also led by a consultant, medical consultant, a distinguished doctor of many years of practice. And he was also around the president too. And in terms of the immediacy of his own medical needs, they were always present to administer to his own needs. As for his attachment to his past practice of going abroad for his medicals, he had an attachment to that. And it was not that he was disrespectful of Nigeria's medical practice or that he didn't believe. For most people who also travel abroad and they need to see doctors.
Of course.
I have experienced this in America.
Me too.
And you go into the office of the doctor, and you find that there's a Nigerian surgeon, there's a Nigerian doctor is receiving. And in fact, there was one in Maryland, US. I said to him, I say, why don't you pack your bags and let's all go back to our country? Do we have to come here to come and see?
Yeah.
But that's the way it is. Nigerians, they practice everywhere. They go all over the world and practice their excellence. And unfortunately, some of the times we follow them there instead of. But I think that in the end, I think President Buhari tried to invest wisely in facilities, universities, a select number, about 6 university teaching hospitals, you recall very well, had special government funding.
Right.
I say, if you go to University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital today, you would think that you are not in this world. In spite of the floods that devastated equipment was there, it's still a first class, and ABU, and a number of them received, and he set up that facility also in the State House, which is a world-class facility that can treat. He didn't have the benefit of going in there, but I believe that future presidents of the country will find that useful.
Absolutely. All right. I mean, last question before we go to the other segment. Do you like to say anything about this controversy? Mr. Perugi had made a claim about Mrs. Buhari, and now he has come out to say that, I shouldn't have done that. Do you want to tell us anything about the status of the marriage? You are the presidential spokesperson until he died, even though not officially, but you are the one. As a matter of fact, you announced the death. Do you want to clarify for the benefit of Nigerians?
I think Madam's official spokesperson, Sani Zoro, a colleague in journalism, had done that. He had explained that nothing of that sort had happened. And I admire Perugi's grace by, he was my former student in the university.
I remember.
I didn't need to call him to say, but, ideally, matters such as that are very personal, intensely so. And I would have thought really to write the story, probably one would have seen, a certificate from the marriage registry.
Before you make that kind of claim.
Before it is all over. But he has retraced his step and apologized and retracted. And I think that is what decency calls for. But it was, I'm sure, hurtful to her at a time when you are mourning your husband, and even for the late President Muhammad Buhari, and that was my own concern, because, as a senior citizen and a follower of one of the leading faiths in the country, it shouldn't be said that you are cohabiting with a woman who is not your wife.
Exactly.
He could not have been staying, if there was separation, he could not have been living in the same, and sharing bedroom and all of that with his wife. So, but I'm happy that it's been clarified and we have that behind us.
And it's good that you also said the matters the record very straight. And thank you so much, for clarifying quite a few of those things. And then, then we will now go to the second segment of the interview with Malam Garba Shehu, which is about his book, According to the President. Inside Sources will be right back. By the way, I was at the launch, and it was the turnout was very impressive.
We were honored.
Okay, let's go to the book. I'm sure that there's a chapter where you dealt with what happened to you in the second term of President Obasanjo. I think you had the job for about 6 months, and then hell was let loose. You spent some time in Kuje. Tell us, can you just give a summary for the benefit of our audience, just so they know that this Malam Garba that you see today, at the time the system shook him off.
Well, in the run-up to the party primaries, and 2003 elections, of course, there were undercurrents of a crisis between president and vice president. At some point, I think the governors were pushing the vice president to run. There was a real facade people could see.
So this was at the end of the first term?
Yeah, it was as the build-up towards the, yes.
Were you already his official spokesperson at this time?
No,
you were already on his team?
I was not, but I was on his team from outside.
Okay.
So therefore, the governors were pushing, and the President Olusegun craftily got the vice president behind him, apparently realizing that he probably could not win without him. Because when he declared, he had two pictures on the wall, one of himself and the other one, nobody on it. So it was clear that the vice president was possibly not going to be on the ticket. So when they won, then the war started. And I was recruited into the presidency in the second term.
Okay.
Working in the office of the vice president.
So you were the senior special assistant?
I was the special assistant.
Same job that you had?
Yeah, special to the vice and spokesperson to the vice.
I remember that you actually told me that, my office during Buhari, that was your office.
Exactly, that is correct. That's the one I had. So the thing is, in a nutshell, we made the conclusion that the former president, with all due respect to Chief Obasanjo, that he never believed that he can be criticized by the media without the instigation of someone. So whatever criticism is in the press, it must be coming from someone.
Wow.
And because there is this underlying, tension and disagreement between himself and the vice president, so it was believed that it was the office of the vice president that was pumping up the negative press for the president. And I was the first to then have been fired because 6 months into the rule, of course, again, I keep coming to my friend, Bayo Onanuga, had a big story on inside happenings within the villa. Over in his magazine, the news, the weekly magazine.
And you are not the source.
Yeah, I could not have been. But of course, you talk to your friends.
Yeah, of course.
And I saw the conspiracy theorists convinced, I believe, that's what I understood, convinced the president that Garba was behind this story. So we came back from the trip to Jos, graduation of a National Institute. But I settled in at home in the evening. They called me from NTA. Someone said, "We're going to announce your resignation tonight." I said, "I haven't resigned."
Someone called you from NTA. That's what you put in the book.
Yes.
From NTA.
Yeah. He said, "I haven't resigned." I said, "Well, but we have a statement from the villa saying you have resigned." I said, "Well, so be it. What can I do?" And wow. So then the vice president, confronted with this information, he said, "Take it. It's better for us. It's better you work from outside than even for, let's continue to." So we set up the Atiku Media office. So Atiku Media office was doing the job of standing up for him because, as we said in the book, it was his own government. But it was government that was determined to destroy his politics and his future.
And his business.
And his business and his family. So we stood with him. And because he was high up there on the ladder, they could not reach him. So those of us, the minions around him, were the ones that were being hounded. And to be fair to also the Secret Service people, because they are also human beings. And with some of them, we have become, the friendship, we established friendships, and this friendship has become enduring for all this time. Sometimes someone will call you and say, "We're coming to arrest you. Call your friends in the media, let them cover so that the president will see that we are doing the work. The charge that he gave us is being carried out." So they took you to their own detention. They treated you with respect. And eventually, these things were going on until it got to the point where, of course, they had broken into my house in Kano.
Wow.
On a search.
You were here in Abuja.
Yes.
When they booked your house back in Kano.
Yeah. The home was searched at night in Abuja here while I was in detention. So I was not present when they took over whatever material they wanted. So, and among the things that they took was a piece of a report that IG of police, Ibrahim Kumasi, who had served under Abacha.
Yes.
During whose time the journalist Bagoda Kalto was killed in Kaduna. You remember the Daba Hotel incident?
Bagoda Kalto was with me and all of us in the news. You know, so we are colleagues in the news.
So now IG of police was concerned that he was getting criticized for incidents such as that one and things that were being done. And so he wanted to me to help him. We happened to have attended the same Barrio College there. So there was that
interaction, relationship.
Yeah. So to help him with the press that he didn't kill, he was not involved in all of these things, including eventually Yaradua's death and all of that. So he gave me a lot of material to read.
By that time, you were already president of the Guild of Editors.
Exactly. So I had, and so they picked this piece of the report, and on the basis of which then I was charged to court, and they said that I was under the 1962 Official Secrets Act, which is that I was in a unauthorized possession of a secret or confidential document that I was not entitled to hold. So, and I was therefore.
So that was the charge.
Yeah, that was the charge. I was charged under the 1962 official
for an offense that you commit that allegedly was committed even before the time you got this job.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a subsisting law.
Yeah.
And I believe they still charge people under that law.
The point I'm making was that they were just looking for something to nail you.
Exactly, they were looking for something. That was it.
Oh, wow.
That I was not a government official. Why would I hold that document? Even though, as you said, I was also president of the guild, and rightfully it could be said that I was an interested party because the journalist had been bombed, and this report was. So there.
So what did the report say? Did the report, you know, what was the content of the report?
No,
the summary.
This was a bombing incident. It was not as if it assigned responsibility to anyone.
Okay, it just
and
reported.
For the IG who gave me the report, for him the important thing was clearly that he was not in the view. Yeah, that was not in the view of the investigators, and he didn't have a hand in it.
And by this time, Kumasi had left.
He had left as IG, of course. He was in retirement at his home in Katsina. So we went through the trial. Well, bail, and first I was charged to the Federal High Court, and I was asked to go home on the basis of the bail that DSS had given me. Already on my own home, they called me to say, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm already at the Federal Secretariat." They said, "Please, there is something that we forgot. Come." So I went back to the headquarters of the DSS.
DSS, okay.
And then they said the judge called to say, she said, "You are to be detained in Kuje prison, not in our headquarters. Because if I was going to the headquarters, they already had given me bail, so I was going to continue."
Yeah.
So that bail was no longer. So that's how one got into Kuje prison. And but eventually...
How long did you spend in Kuje prison?
About 3 days that time.
Wow.
And then they called for hearing at the Federal High Court. And my lawyers then promptly argued that there was no jurisdiction by the Federal High Court. So at that time, on the same day, I was discharged, and then the DSS took me to the Federal FCT High Court.
On another charge?
On the same charge.
After you were discharged?
Same day. So they took me, and then they took me to FCT High Court. And then I was charged. And luckily, as I said in the book, the CJ of FCT, Justice Lowell Gumi, who is now an emir in Zamfara. And by coincidence, we had gone to the same college also, College. By coincidence, again, he was a victim of a major campaign against his being CJ in FCT. A pull him down campaign.
Wow.
And the man, my friend said to me, "You have access to the media. Can you please let this man be heard by the nation?" And again, by Ononaga, very good friend, as I said, the news magazine did an excellent cover story for this man telling his own story for nothing. I had forgotten all about that. So I went through the trial until after about 2 years, when Obasanjo was about to go, I was pronounced discharged and acquitted. And that is actually at the point when it came back to me. And it's one of the lessons we thought we should bring to journalists to bear. That although the goodness of my case was not in doubt, and I had excellent lawyers.
And these were Akintola,
Ricky Tarfa, and Ngige. All of them senior advocates of Nigeria. Yeah. So it was not in doubt. We were winning the case. But assuming the judge is a human being, as we all are.
Yeah.
Assuming I had joined those who were antagonizing him in that case.
Yeah.
You know, so we're saying, journalists, this power that you have, you decide this story will go to the dustbin or into the paper, or go on air or is discarded. Use it wisely, not to compromise standards or ethics, but do justice and be fair to everyone, because you never know where you meet them.
You never know. Excellent, excellent story. You know, so altogether you spent 3 days in
yes.
And the whole case lasted for how long?
About more than 2 years, about 2.5 years.
Oh wow! So you kept going back to the.
And I didn't have a passport. I could not travel for.
They seized your passport?
Yeah, the passport was kept by the court, and.
Wow!
Yeah,
look at that! Look at that! But I wanted to ask you, Madam, you know, so what happened to you was the fallout between President Olusegun Obasanjo and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now, in your own view, since you're a journalist, a senior journalist for that matter, a former president of the Guild, and now a former presidential spokesperson, do you think that was Atiku's best opportunity to be president? 2003. Looking back now, I'd like to have your wisdom. Because it seems to me, hindsight is 2020, it seems to me that was his best opportunity to be president.
Well, you know, it takes a measure of prophecy to project into the future.
Yeah.
I don't know what lies ahead for Atiku, but he had a good chance to have been president if he had, because look at what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
All of the governors that rallied behind him, who of them, who was it that was not hounded as well? Who was it not? Was it Ibori or Governor Ojikalu? Or all of them, Lamido, you know.
All of them were with him.
Including you know, Ashwaji Tinubu himself, who survived all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And was the rallying point then.
Right.
For, you know, so they went through hell as well, many of the governors. And I believe some of them, they still have subsisting cases that were instigated from that time. But I guess the former vice president felt safe enough to continue. But I think, you know, it is Yoruba people who say this proverb, that if you pull out the sword,
yes, yeah,
use it.
Use it.
Because there's no difference between whether you have used it or you haven't used it.
Put it out.
The sword is out.
Yeah.
But he made his decision.
Yeah, yeah.
It was his own choice.
Yeah, yeah. And there's also the view that, you know, and I think you also refer to it now, that at that time, you know, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and, you know, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they were allies.
Oh, yes.
You know, at that time.
The story we have, and this is why people like Bode George would not forgive Atiku, because PDP had, you know, the result was already read for Lagos.
Yes, yes.
It was online, even before the votes were cast. And how is it that it was only, the belief was by PDP in Lagos was that Atiku forsook them. That when all the other AD governors in the Southwest were swept out of office, he protected his friend.
Let's begin to wrap up, you know, just so I don't take too much of your time. So you have worked with quite a number of, two major principals, you know, as spokespeople. In your experience with them, what do you consider to be their weaknesses?
In my book, what I said I was doing was to bring two contrasting experiences. Because working with the vice president, we were charging forward because we had to secure the principal, as I said, in his family and his business and his own.
Yeah.
So what were the tools we were using? How did we do it?
Right.
And in the case of Buhari, we were the ones who were being fought.
Right. You are in charge.
Yeah, because look at all of the things. Buhari is a Muslim. He's a Boko Haram is Muslim. He has charged Boko Haram to go and kill Christians. You know, leading clerics in this country will go to the British Parliament.
Yeah,
will go to the U.S. Congress and tell things that you know that don't exist in the country. We had people saying that if Buhari is a Fulani man and all of these herders who are killing people, they are his agents. Some of them he brought from outside the country and all of that.
Struggle.
So it was an entirely different experience. And as I said, really our wish is that people would see that, well, so how do we gain from the contrast? One, we were attacking, and one, we were being attacked.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, a very interesting perspective. And some of the things that, that I also reflect upon, is that, and this is my own personal point, and I'll you make a response. I had a lot of, wish, that, because of course, we came in, there was too much insecurity, and, we gave it a big pushback. One of the things that I think we didn't do was that we didn't decisively end the problem of insecurity. It's a personal thing for me. It's something that I continue to grapple with. That did we do all that we could have done? And which is why in my public commentary I always say, look, thank God, it's the same pattern.
It's the same pattern.
And we still get a chance to fix it. Do you have that, how do you reflect on some of the, because nobody is able to do anything completely. Even President Buhari did say that, hey, look, those are the things that I couldn't do, or whatever I did wrong, I have apologies for it. And President Tinubu says, oh, I take the assets and liabilities of the past administration. How do you see these things, Madam, as we begin to
well, let me say that I think, as I have said it in the book again, that the problem of Muhammadu Buhari was the crisis of expectation. Because people thought that, or maybe it was partly our fault as a campaign, that we gave Nigerians a Superman who will solve all problems and all crises. But the truth is that when he campaigned, the big security issue was just Boko Haram. It was Boko Haram. But security situation was mutating in the country. It was moving from one thing to another. And this country had never been without one form of challenge or another. And it will continue to be so. And people go back, people read the literature, colonial literature. This thing about farmers and herders, there's an issue in British Parliament happening in the colony that was Nigeria. The
colonial territory.
Exactly. Or conflict between Fulani and Middle Belt people. It was there.
It's a hedgehold.
Exactly. And you see Northern Nigeria Parliament debate about recruitment of policemen from areas other than also the Middle Belt, because they had other ethnic people to come into the police and all of that. So the thing is that, we had really focused and dealt a blow to Boko Haram. Because it was all of the country was freed of Boko Haram. But then they were crossing over maybe from neighboring the fringe areas of Lake Chad. And they still pose the threat. I never say, I will not say that it was 100% complete, but it was a huge, huge achievement. Yobe, everyone was calm. Maiduguri didn't have electricity for years. They didn't have telephone. They didn't have
the airport was shut down.
Exactly.
All of those were restored.
Normalcy was returned. All of 17 local governments taken over had been repossessed. And infrastructure was being rebuilt. But then the herders and the farmer and the herders thing was also, I think, dealt with in a significant way, except for the fact that politics had come in. Because some governors wouldn't just hear anything about ranching. I'm happy that we're seeing some change now.
Yes.
The Tinubu administration, the numbers that are coming to say we accept is much better than we had. So we hope that it will work for the country. But then this thing about cattle rustling and kidnapping.
And then banditry.
Then was blossoming. Yeah. And then government was paying attention to it. And how did you even get to achieve what we did? Look at all of the procurements that were ongoing, because a lot of the deliveries are still being made.
Yeah.
Whether they are military aircraft or helicopters. I'm not saying this administration is not buying anything.
No, of course.
Yeah, but then these are not on the shelf.
Yeah.
That you go buy. Aircraft.
You have to order it. It takes
ahead of years to deliver.
Yeah.
And this is what is helping the country. And I believe that this administration, rightly, is an APC administration, is our government.
Yeah.
But who knows what is going to be the next challenge? There is no country that is without peculiar security challenges. They will succeed. I hope they do soon. Vanquishing what is left of banditry and the rustling of cattle and kidnapping. What is going to be the next one? I'm not, I don't read crystal ball. I can't say, but it may come from the space.
Exactly.
Or artificial intelligence, manufactured machines that are coming to knock your punch at our noses and take over territory. We don't know.
We don't know. Exactly. Madam, let me ask you, what do you make of what seems to me a little bit of tension, in the APC family? The people around President Buhari, between the people around President Buhari and people around President Tinubu, there seems to be a little bit of tension, and I will give you an example. So at your book launch, Boss Mustafa, said, oh, look, I'm going to say something I hope I'm not trying to stir a controversy. And what he said, if you look at it, the content of what he said, yes, he was being, quote unquote, factual. But like I said to him, I said, well, the moment you said this is going to be a controversy, just shut up. Don't say it. Because, and then, of course, that's what I told him after the, and then, of course, we have to be saying, oh, no, that's not what happened. Now, I think that is because there's a bit of a tension between people close to Buhari and people close to Tinubu. It's even possible that Tinubu and Buhari don't have any issues, but the people around them. I think that is why what Boss Mustafa said took a life of its own.
Yeah, but
it was interpreted that way.
We were helped by the fact that some of the responsible media organizations did come and they sought our explanation.
Yeah, and even Mr. Onuga too.
And Mr. Onuga amazingly was arise also, because it was not in doubt those numbers Boss Mustafa gave were. But the point he wanted to make clearly was that the merger was formulated so that there would be a Buhari presidency.
Really? And I don't think anybody opposed that.
Exactly. Yeah. Buhari presidency didn't happen 1, 2, 3 times because he had these massive numbers, but he didn't have that geographical spread in the south, which the constitution says is mandatory. So this handshake with the Ashwaji Tinubu and the alliance partners ensured that the reach that he didn't have in the south, he had it, and he became president. And others may dispute this, but President Buhari would not say that he didn't get from anybody. He continues to be grateful. But one thing I want to say is that tension will continue to be there. Do you think the opposition will allow us to sleep quietly?
Absolutely. Good point.
Yeah. Because
look we must put some fire.
Look at PDP today. PDP is in tatters. It's in tatters. Completely. The umbrella is shredded. And it is now, you can see elements of the PDP. With this, 1 or 2 of our people from APC coming to say we will do a new party, ADC, and all of that. Yeah. Even the new ADC people, it is not to their gain that APC should be a bed of roses. That we calm and peace in our place. If anybody can instigate,
they will.
And you look at the multifaceted nature of mass communications, the media. I say every day, that following morning, nearly every paper, except perhaps one or two, had this punch by Boss Mustafa against Tinubu. And I'm happy reason prevailed. Because the wish of the opposition is that day when Tinubu will say this, Buhari will say this. Buhari says, Tinubu says. Tinubu says, Buhari says. Once that conflict situation is generated, that is the law of their life.
Yeah.
Because then PDP will go the way of PDP, and APC will go the way of PDP. That's what they want.
I know that. And of course, that's the nature of partisan politics and democracy, that, you have this kind of tension. So, if you may, do you have a view about rotational presidency?
It's already in place.
Do you think that it should be honored? Should we continue 8 years north, 8 years south?
The wise men who crafted the constitution of the country, well, not the constitution. It's not in the constitution. I know that even then, it was PDP that actually had written it into their constitution.
That's true.
Although they breached it into the constitution, and that's why Nigerians punished them.
True.
So if Nigerians, this is what they want, give it to them. That's basically it. Give sense of inclusion and participation by everyone.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's not, and it will get to the point. Maybe, as I said, we're evolving as a democracy. The day will come when people will say it's no longer important whether you're a northerner or a southerner, or a Muslim or a Christian. There is the competence that should count.
Yeah.
And we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Maybe not in our lifetime.
Oh, well, I wish and pray that that great Nigeria will happen in our lifetime. Oh, by the way, I'm younger than you.
Look at your beard.
Okay, so I wanted you to explain to our audience, if you wished. President Buhari didn't grant a lot of press interviews. Why was that?
Yeah, it's my personal choice. I think not all presidents are the same.
Yeah.
All presidents are not the same. And there are some who cherish the TV. I remember as a reporter, I covered one minister in Lagos, and a petroleum minister actually at that time. And my cameraman, I was in the television then, NTA. Cameraman had forgotten battery in the car.
Okay.
So a minister was seated to start the conference. While he was, because, he looked very officious and all of that. Once he sat down, he began to read his text. Then he realized that the television camera was not rolling.
Oh, wow.
So he stopped and he said, if this thing is not working, take it out of this place.
I hope it wasn't live.
No, it was not live.
Okay.
We are being recorded. So the point is, Buhari wasn't like that. As I said there in the book, he's not just somebody who just cuts the tape and take picture.
Yeah.
He wanted his work to speak for him.
Yeah.
And as I've said always also, don't forget that the Decree 4 thing is still lurking.
Yeah, it's all right.
Some in the press in the country never trusted him throughout.
Yeah.
Even when throughout the 8 years of President Buhari, he never for once say, go and lock up this journal.
Absolutely not.
He never said, go and shut down that newspaper or radio.
Absolutely not.
Not him. But he still, that backlog of was looming there.
Yes.
So this is why a lot of the times, he would say to I and Femi, they are your people, go and deal with them.
Yes, I get that saying that he says that, what, look, these people don't like me, so I better keep them at arm's length.
That's how he is.
Anyway, thank you so much, Madam Garba Shehu.
Thank you also.
Thank you for doing a book that is not only descriptive of your experience, but it's also prescriptive, to people that are coming forward in the future to be a spokesperson. And I like that aspect of it. And judging from your experience as a journalist and editor, the leader of the NG, the Guild of Editors, and of course your work as a presidential spokesperson to 2 presidential administrations, you are very ably qualified to do this kind of book, to teach essentially people that are coming up.
Thank you so much
in the profession. And thank you for your work. right from when you were a reporter, your public spirit and your contributions to national service. And thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you for the privilege of being on this platform.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will win because we will be here. We won't relent. We will bring up the issues. And I believe that in our time, we will get to that great Nigeria, which is our dream. My name is Laulu Akonde. Thank you for watching. And by the grace of God, I will see you at the next edition.